This week, can you trust a survey of which RVs are quality and which are not from RV dealers? And how do you deal with your batteries in the winter? Can you leave them plugged in? Do you got to do something special? How to winterize your RV system's batteries. This is RV Miles. Chances are you've seen them on the road. That's because Blue Ox designs and manufactures the best towing products in the industry. Just look around, you'll find them on highways and campgrounds and anywhere you find people traveling in the great outdoors. From award-winning tow bars and base plates to a full line of weight distribution hitches, adjustable ball mounts, and now they have fifth wheel hitches too. With Blue Ox, towing doesn't have to be a drag. Visit blueox.com for more information. Ever feel like finding the right RV part is like searching for a needle in a haystack? Enter eTrailer.com. Whether you're puzzled about which product is right for you or how to install it, eTrailer has got you covered. Their US-based customer service is available by chat or phone 7 days a week, and with expert Q&As, helpful articles, and tons of reviews and install videos, you'll tackle any RV problem with confidence. eTrailer strives to get their hands on everything they sell, and their website is full of overviews, reviews, buying guides, and tutorials. And it's not just RV parts, it's towing and vehicle accessories, camping supplies, and more. Head to the link in the description and get free shipping on orders over $99. Welcome to episode number 382 of RV Miles. I'm Jason.
And I'm Abby, and we are two RVers who, along with our three boys, have been crisscrossing all over North America in one epic road trip since 2016. Here at RV Miles, we talk all things RV and outdoors, from industry news to travel destinations, batteries in the winter, awards, and so much more.
A lot going on here at the Mile Zero studio. We're now able to use our podcasting and news desk.
We have a desk.
However, if you're watching, you can't really see the whole thing. You just see a little bit of the top, because eventually we have to get our mics are on the same traveling cart as the camera. We need to get a different cart that sits between us here that our mics come up from. That way the camera can be untethered, move back away. You'll get to see the desk, and we'll have some close-up shots of us as well.
We're going to go to a 3-camera system
Yeah.
here pretty soon
Yeah.
on the podcast.
Yeah.
So you're going to get us, then you're going to get a shot of Jason, then you're going to get a shot of me, and our editor, aka our son, is going to love it. We try not to make it as though audio doesn't exist here anymore on the podcast, because audio is still an incredibly important component to the RV Miles podcast. It's literally called a podcast.
Yeah, it's a podcast medium in the first place. I get really frustrated with some of the podcasts out there that have a huge video following, which I'm grateful that our video following is growing.
Yeah.
But they start to do stuff that's like image based, like they'll show a reel or something, and I'm like, I'm listening in the car or while working, and I'm like, what is this?
What
It's
are we
not a
talking about?
podcast.
But I do want to point out, speaking of visuals, I do want to point out for anyone who is watching, and I'll give a little imagery for our listening friends as well, but we have hung curtains in here. And you might see it right behind my head. There's a beautiful olive green curtain.
But it's not closed for those
not
of
closed.
you who don't like the people walking across the window.
We're not closing it. We want the natural light. You're never going to win that argument. Like the curtains will be open when we're in here, but I'm pointing it out because Jason was so tickled the whole time we were hanging these. We just hung them a couple of days ago, and he was just as chuffed as could be with himself, because he was like, look how perfectly these are measured. Look at this. Look at the way they perfectly line up with the ground. He was thrilled.
They're like a perfect inch and a quarter off the floor.
I know, you were so happy, and you said, of course it should be like this. I measured them, but of course it should be.
Okay. I just bought 9-foot curtains because it was a 9-foot opening, and
I'm trying to compliment you though, because you were just, every time you hung a panel, you were so thrilled with the beautiful evenness of it all. And I think that is such a designer and a builder's mind. Like, you were just so happy. Meanwhile, I'm like, Oh, I can't wait till we get to start hanging
Well,
pictures and
now
decor.
we finally people can't see in the windows, because so the windows that you see on camera are heavily tinted. It's a mirror tint that you cannot see in from the outside.
It's so much fun during the day
Oh,
when people walk past here and they can't see in.
they're checking themselves out.
They stop like they're at a mirror and they're like fixing their hair. Didn't one guy like lift up his shirt or
Last week,
something to like
this
check out his
guy
abs?
it was well, it wasn't abs. This guy lifted up his shirt and like started patting his belly in the window, and I'm like, I'm right here, and he has no clue.
Part of me thinks he knows you were
No,
in there
it
and that's
was
why he was doing it.
people all day. It's all day
But
long. But there is like a third of our windows have no tint on
yeah,
them, and those are the ones that people can see in. So finally, we get to cover that. We walked into the studio today. It's the middle of the day, and one wall is entirely windows, and it was pitch black in here, so much so that I had trouble finding the light switch. So
yeah, it was great. It's the little things in life. And curtains being hung right now have brought us a lot of joy. And I love that because
it's
I think we're all searching for a little bit of
those.
joy these days and hanging some
It's
curtains.
just nice to have things moving along a little bit in here.
Yeah, this desk is beautiful.
Thank you. I'll put an
I
image of it up on the screen, even though we can't.
Yeah, I know it seems like progress has been few and far between when we talk about it here, but we actually do share a lot of what's going on with mile markers kind of as part of our behind the scenes. And so we have been sharing the progress of this desk. It has been slow progress,
I look forward
but
to the day when we've got this finished out, and it's not going to be much longer. Things move fast. This past weekend,
mhm.
and then we can do we'll do a full tour and stuff, and it'll
It'll
be
be
fun.
great.
Yeah.
We were talking too about earlier how one of the things we envision here is being able to open the doors and do community events in here to continue that sort of desire we have for more in person, more face to face, like actual voice to voice kind of interactions with other RVers and people in the community. How we are really trying to figure out a way to get to pull back the social media of it all
Yeah.
and return to more in person, more discussions that happen where we hear each other's voices or,
Well, even
real time.
even digitally, like
Yeah.
more live stream, more
More
um
more live,
and more
more
like this part of the reason we love podcasting is sort of separate from the big tech entities.
yeah.
It's the podcast is on YouTube, it's on Spotify, but it's not
It's on
exclusive
Apple.
to those. And podcasts are it's this great invention that somebody came up with to put these audio episodes out on RSS feeds. I guess Apple really came up with the idea, and thankfully Apple didn't make it an exclusive thing, but
Yeah.
we're looking for more ways to do more of more branching out into areas that aren't controlled by a specific big tech company at a time, because
Yeah.
it's just like anything can happen at any time. We've talked to people who have had big YouTube channels just disappear.
Well, and part of that, we've been talking a lot about some of the content, and we're going to dive into this discussion more in our detour episode for this week. And that's the podcast we do for mile marker members every week. But we have become increasingly like, I don't want to say concerned, annoyed, maybe a little concerned with some of these AI generated reels and images that are popping up now and how they're really starting to take over some of these social media platforms. And you're really starting to have a hard time if you don't know what you're looking for and you don't know how to tell something is AI. I can't imagine what you must be feeling about the world right now.
Yeah.
Because we are seeing some stuff across some social media platforms that are blowing my mind, and they are clearly AI.
The internet is it's rapidly eating itself,
It is.
because
It is.
a lot of the comments end up being AI too. And then the algorithm favors engagement. So it's making stuff that it engages with and it is back and forth. There's a
Yeah.
lot of that sort of stuff. Anyway.
So a lot of your
Yeah.
favorite content creators, podcasters are really struggling right now to fight against this.
Yeah.
And so, one of the things that obviously we can all do is to share content that is real, that is coming from real sources and that we have vetted, that we know, I know this person, I know this is Jason, I know this is so and so, and sharing that content because there is so much, and you've got a black tank sort of on this too. And like I said, we're going to talk about it on Detour so we can move on. But there's just it's becoming a scary wild, wild west out there. Not a fun wild, wild west, but kind of a really scary, frustrating one.
Yeah.
And it's gonna, if it is eating itself, it is going to end up taking a lot of us with it. And that's a little scary for those of us with small businesses in that realm.
I kind of have a bit of an alternative perspective on that, though. I do think in the end, and it will be tough for a while, but I do think in the end, what's going to matter to people when the AI swallows up so much is they're going to turn to trusted sources that they know that they can. And, when they know it's us here sitting and talking into a microphone, as opposed to, you could literally do exactly what we're doing through AI now.
Yeah.
Then,
But we don't want that.
Right. And I think,
Yeah.
but I do think that I think I personally, will gravitate more and more to like news sources that I trust
Mhm.
and content creators that I trust and know are authentic.
I hope you're right. I think, sometimes it's, what is that saying? Hope for the worst. No.
Let's see if we can figure this one
Hold on,
out together.
I'm gonna get there. Give it
Mhm.
hope for the best, but prepare for the worst.
Good job.
There we go. I got there in the end.
All right, I wanted to talk a bit about the sort of lead news story from the last news episode here a bit. This actually ended up taking about half of the episode. It was a shorter episode, but the last news episode we talked about the RV Dealers Association's Quality Circle Awards. And predictably, because I've covered this for many years now, every year when they come out, a lot of the comments are a quality award coming from RV dealers is hilarious. And I said that in that video a couple of times, like, look, take this with a grain of salt. This is coming from people trying to sell you something. I do think it's a little funny that it's the RV dealers. So what it is a survey of RV dealers. It's like 500 or so RV dealers across the country and the RV and in Canada. And the RV Dealers Association surveys them on with the survey that they call the Dealer Satisfaction Index. So then the RVDA takes the top scores from that Dealer Satisfaction Index and puts out these awards that they call the award the Quality Circle Award.
Yeah.
Now the RV dealers weren't voting based on just quality. That's one of the elements. They were voting on dealer satisfaction, a whole different thing. Like, it's going to be how well the unit sells, how much profit they make off of an individual unit.
Mhm.
Airstream might not make the list because maybe their profit's too thin on an Airstream, even though they sell a bunch of them or something. So they might not be, dealer satisfied.
The survey is tainted. So
It's
a little
tainted,
bit.
but then they also call the award something that the survey is not.
So here's what I'm thinking
Yeah.
as we're talking about this, because a lot of people
Yeah.
are like, oh, funny quality. And a lot of people think it's hilarious. My first thought is, how is this any different from an Oscar?
Oh, yeah.
And the way the Oscars are done for your consideration, anybody? How is this any different than a Tony that gets handed out for theater? These are all voted on by committee. And a lot of these, so the Oscars, the Emmys, the Tonys,
they're
the
people that make the
Grammys.
stuff. They're not people that buy the stuff. Yeah.
An Oscar is literally like, you are judged upon by a group of your peers, and literally a survey almost gets sent out, and you vote for what made the most. A lot of times, it's what made the most money that year.
Yeah.
And what was flashy, what perform, who lobbied hard enough for the award, and this is to me, and it's not to say it's not all ridiculous because awards are ridiculous.
Sure.
I mean, there
Yeah.
are podcast awards out there that
There
are
are
voted on by the people,
lots of
and the
them.
people who win it are those who have the biggest following. That doesn't necessarily
Yeah,
mean
it's
they're the
it's whoever
best.
can work hard to share, or and whoever wants to like work hard to share and get their community
Right.
to vote for it. But I do think so. There's a little bit of a difference here though, because dealers are not manufacturers,
No, dealers are not
and
manufacturers.
we like to think of the RV industry as dealers and manufacturers, but dealers they have a collegial relationship with manufacturers. But in the end, really, the dealers are the buyer. The dealers do, especially even more than like an automobile dealer or dealer of any kind of, say you have a outdoor store and you sell grills or something like that. You're not in the situation that RV manufacturers are, the RV dealers are, that where when unit gets delivered to them, they have to then go do any warranty work that needs to be done on it immediately. Like, because there always is. Virtually every unit that comes off the line, a lot of people will say this, that the dealer is the final station on the manufacturing line.
Mhm.
They're not like an after, because when that rig gets delivered across the country, travels 1,000 miles to that dealer or whatever, it's bouncing down the road for the first time and stuff changes. And the better dealers will fix that stuff on the lot when it arrives. Some dealers will just like let it sit until somebody buys it, and then they'll fix whatever that customer says that they need to fix before they buy it, and when they do their final walkthrough and all that sort of stuff. But in the end, because of all that work that dealers have to do at the rates that the manufacturers pay for warranty work, which is not going to be great, dealers care about quality. They
Yeah.
do care about quality, and it is one of the elements of this survey. Dealers will stop carrying a product if the quality goes down. I've seen it happen several times. Or they'll order less of that product if the quality goes down.
I guess here's my other thing about it though, is the dealers who are voting. So one of the problems that can be hard at, I would think, with being able to give a quality award to one particular
Yeah.
manufacturer is we know for a fact that there are hundreds and hundreds
Yeah.
of floor plans and models out there. And there is no dealer anywhere that carries every single model of every single brand. So again, the results get skewed based upon who gets this survey, what they're carrying on their lot. So now we've pared it down even more. And then it's what gave us the least amount of headache to get it out the door.
Yeah.
Whereas that comparison to the Oscars or, in Chicago, we even have this thing called the Jeff Awards. It's our version of the Tonys. And when something is nominated, they have to go watch that thing
Yeah.
to have an opinion on it.
Yeah.
So where this gets all bumbled a little bit is that nobody has to vet the thing getting nominated, or there is no nomination for the nominee for best
Yeah.
5 fifth wheel floor
Well,
plans for 2026
do-
it's just this is the best quality fifth wheel for
Yeah.
dealer award. Congratulations.
And one of the issues then is that some of the less sold stuff doesn't earn enough votes
Right.
from, because there's not enough dealers selling it
And-
to make the list. So like New Camp is highly respected as a quality manufacturer by a lot of their buyers, but they're not going to be on this quality circle index because they just don't sell enough units at enough dealerships.
Yeah, and that's a tale as old as time across any award show. The small storefront, the small movie, the small indie movie, the small indie band, the small indie, RV dealership, manufacturer, they always get the short end of the stick.
Now,
Like,
it is
book
interesting,
awards,
though.
all of them.
It is interesting, and this is where I do think there is some value in a list like this, because a lot of people said like, look, it's like so many different brands, and it was 23 different brands and manufacturers, and People are like, isn't that like 2/3 of them? No, it's not.
It's
It's nowhere.
is it even
It's nowhere near.
1/6?
I
I
listed
wouldn't
a
even
ton
know.
of Forest River brands, and it's not even, it's maybe half of Forest River brands are on there. There's just a lot of brand names out there. And I think, you can take this with a grain of salt and know that it is put together by dealers and they're going to be an industry friendly at the least.
Mhm.
But also knowing that and knowing that they're honoring a lot of brands here, 23, and it's actually gone up. I looked last year, it was like 19, and the year before it was 16. So it goes up. Um, what's interesting then is who's not on the list. And not talking about the smaller manufacturers like New Camp or even somebody like Outdoors RV, who's not tiny, but they're not
Yeah.
big enough to be on the list. So what's interesting then is to see Airstream not on the list, to see Keystone having Cougar on the list, but not Montana.
Hmm.
To see uh
Is it more would this be more appropriate as a gauge for the temperature of the buyer or of the dealer, what the dealer wants in, you know, saying, okay, well, Cougar continues to be on this list. Is that because Cougar continues to be a really easy brand to sell?
I think there's
Is it
probably an element though
is it the floor
of
plans?
yeah, and Cougar has a lot of, friendly floor plans. They've got some great floor plans in there. And I do think Cougar does a good job, but it also might relate to again, Cougar is sort of a mid-range fifth wheel.
Mhm.
You're not paying the kind of money you are if you're buying a Montana.
Yeah, it sounds like it
And
comes down to not necessarily
yeah,
quality, but sellability. Maybe it
yeah.
should be the RV
Yeah.
Sellability
And I'm
Award.
not sure. I
You know,
don't, I
it's
don't but then like, Newmar's on here. I mean,
well,
we
I
know
mean, well, we
motorhomes
know that Newmar's made.
and we know but we know motorhome sales in general. I just did one of the stories I did was that 30% down 30% from a year ago August. This August was.
Yeah,
For Class A motorhomes. And
Class A motorhomes are in trouble.
they
I'm,
are. And
you know,
but then so, if Newmar's on here, that can't be about the number sold. Um
but could
but
it not be though? Because think about it. You sell 3 of those
okay,
in a year and you're like,
sure.
that's this of all my Class A's that I have on the lot.
Then why is Newmar on here though, but Tiffin is not? And that's where it gets interesting.
Well, who owns what?
Well,
Thor
it's
owns
Winnebago
Tiffin,
and Thor.
right?
Yeah, it's Winnebago and Thor.
So now you're asking yourself, gosh, Jace, I mean, I know we got to move on. We could
Yeah,
talk about this all day. This could be our whole
yeah.
episode, but you have to think, okay, whose image stands tall in the mind of the consumer of the two?
I
Is it Thor or is it Winnebago? And I'm not going to answer
I
that,
think they I
but
think it used to Winnebago would have stood higher, 5 years ago. I think nowadays I think Winnebago is not as trusted a brand. And in fact,
but
Winnebago motorhomes not on here either.
so okay, so and that's a really fair point. I mean, my counterpoint to that would be this is just going off again what we read in comments, and of
Yeah.
course the loudest people in the room are usually not the most accurate, but the name Thor, for whatever reason, really sends a lot of people into
It's
a
because they're the
tizzy.
biggest name.
And so,
it
if you've got a new, let's say we've got a new consumer, an RVer
yeah.
coming in, they're doing
Yeah.
their research, they're going out there into the ye old social media where everything is truthful and factual, and we're all kumbaya in it out there, and they're looking at Class A's, and they are probably going to encounter more negative publicity around Thor than they are Winnebago. And so then maybe when they go to look at Class A's, they're like, I don't know, maybe
Yeah.
this Newmar, but now they're
I
going to
don't
have to
think
deal
that
with the Newmar drama.
ever since the Grand Design drama, I don't think, I think now that it's and there's no question. Look, Winnebago has some great products and they have some not so great products. Thor has many brands that have really great products and they have some not so great products.
Yeah.
But there's no question that, and I kind of poo-pooed the idea that this would happen, but absolutely happened. So I'll eat crow on that. There's no question that Winnebago buying Newmar and Thor buying Tiffin, both events happened in the last 5, 6 years, reduced the quality of both brands. Like
Yeah.
there's very specific instances because I know Tiffin, they changed their slides. The slides were well known. They manufactured them at the plant. There were big changes that happened over time at both companies. Would those companies have made those changes without those parent companies? It doesn't seem like they would have.
Listen, you're a half full kind of guy when it comes to a glass, and I appreciate that about you. And sometimes, though, being the glass is half full kind of guy means that sometimes your glass is going to get knocked over and you're wrong. Like, and I want to make it really clear. I'm not advocating
Yeah.
that Thor is better than Winnebago or Winnebago's better
Yeah.
than Thor in this conversation. I'm just kind of playing like counterpoint off of some of this and trying to, we're just speculating as to why all these things aren't on here. This is all speculation. We have no idea. But if it truly is the RV Sellability Award, then you have to figure in some respects, brand image comes into play.
Yeah.
And when you are as big as a lot of these have become, when you are, top dog, and then you've got all the little dogs underneath you, you're never going to have 100% beautiful brand image. You just can't. It's
No.
not possible.
Any of these brands, especially like the ones that people hold up there for some of the best quality, we've heard horror stories about every single brand.
Yeah,
of
course.
But that's not to say that they're all the same.
But
It can happen with any brand, but that doesn't mean that like it's all about sort of the percentages of their work, right? If one brand is building 100 RVs in a month and 30% of them have major problems, and the other brand 3% of them have major problems. Obviously, you want to be in the 3% brand,
Sure.
but there's still going to be those 3 people that month that got a stinker.
Yeah, 97 were great, 3 were bad.
Then it comes to like, how good is your warranty service? And I think that's something that dealers particularly care about a lot. They don't want to have a lot of back and forth with the manufacturer about approvals. They want to get paid decently for those repairs, and they want to be able to just do it and get it done.
Well, congratulations to those 23 who won this year's RV Sellability Award. We hope you wear that.
Quality circle.
The RV Sellability Quality Circle. We hope that you wear that accolade with pride. We all love having our work acknowledged. So congratulations to those 23 brands.
Harvest Host is a membership that allows RVers to take a rest from the road and enjoy unlimited overnight stays at over 5,000 unique locations in North America, like breweries, farms, attractions, wineries, and much more. Easily plan and book your next RV trip and enjoy over $1,500 in exclusive member benefits by joining Harvest Hosts. Get 15% off your first year of membership with the code MILES. That's MILES. Go to harvesthost.com to become a Harvest Host member today.
Okay, we got a question from a listener, from Patty, who says, "Hi, Jason and Abby. I love your podcast, and I have a question. On a recent camping trip, when picnicking in a city park while pulling our travel trailer cross country, the awning wouldn't retract because the battery was dead. Could leaving the camper plugged in all winter while not in use have somehow run down or damaged the battery? Do you recommend leaving a camper plugged in over the winter or not, and why?" Well, thank you, Patty, for
Hi, Patty.
writing the email. So we thought we could answer this question, but also, since it's this time of year, talk a little bit about battery care and storage for the winter.
Yeah, we did. We thought you could talk about that because let's not pretend. Everyone knows when we say the we mean the J.
So first of all, there's nothing wrong with leaving your RV plugged in all winter, and it's probably the best thing. It's at least the easiest thing. But if you have wet cell batteries, which, the basic generic wet cell batteries that are often supplied for, in the deal at the RV dealership without upgrading to lithium. if you have those types of batteries, they need to be maintained. You have to periodically open them up and pour a little distilled water in them to get the battery to the proper level. And a lot of people don't know that and don't do that at all. And that can eventually cause fires. It can, there's some serious stuff that can happen, particularly off gassing. If you're smelling a rotten egg smell coming from your batteries, it's probably because you haven't been doing any battery maintenance on them, which is why, people don't prefer wet cell batteries anymore. But there's a lot of RVs with them out there. So if you've got those, they need to be charged through the winter because a battery that is fully charged won't freeze until like negative 70 degrees. It's something crazy like that. But a battery that is at a very low charge can freeze at 32 degrees. So it is important to keep your batteries charged all winter, and it will make them last longer if you have wet cell batteries or if you have AGM batteries, which is like a wet cell, but it's a glass mat um, that doesn't have some of the problems that a wet cell battery has. So in either of those cases, it's absolutely fine to have your RV plugged in during the winter and using your regular charger to charge it. Another option is to pull the batteries out and put them in a place where they're not going to freeze in your garage or something like that. People say don't put them on the concrete itself because that can conduct the cold up through them. Just put a block under them or something. But you want to have them on some sort of charger. We used to call it a trickle charger. That's not actually the right word because a trickle charger doesn't control the voltage going in and doesn't stop charging. It just keeps charging. But a modern battery charger that you would buy at like Walmart or AutoZone is what you would keep your batteries on all winter. So do I think your batteries could have been damaged by being stored all winter? It kind of just depends. If they were plugged in and or all winter long and charging and you weren't doing maintenance on them ever, it's possible, especially if you didn't do maintenance before you put it away for the winter, that those batteries are damaged and that they just aren't doing well anymore. But that would have happened whether you had it plugged in or not.
Mhm.
So plugging in is not the problem at all.
Right. Like once maintenance. So what you're saying is kind of like once maintenance
Yeah.
sort of gets to a point where you've not been doing it for a prolonged period of time, there's really no saving
Yeah.
that battery. Plugging it in
No.
isn't going to return it back to its former
Yeah.
self.
And
You didn't give it the fancy water it needed,
right.
therefore.
And those
Okay.
wet cell batteries, they don't have the greatest lifespan in the first place.
Yeah.
So especially if you have run them down to zero many times, every time you run your battery down to almost nothing, if it's a wet cell battery in particular, you're reducing the life cycle of that battery, and
And that doesn't take a
bad.
lot
Yeah.
in an RV.
No,
The power that, I mean, an awning itself
yeah, you can
will
run.
pull a
Yeah,
decent amount of power. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So it's possible, Patty, that the batteries were kind of already on their way out. We don't know how long you've had the batteries in the rig, but it is possible that batteries were already kind of on their way out the door. And now they're just kind of showing you that, yeah, this battery is no longer any good. If they have been maintaining the battery, though,
yeah.
are we looking at maybe like an electrical issue, a draw somewhere?
So the other side of that is you might have you'll notice this eventually, but you might have a charging issue. Your battery might not be getting a charge. But I'm fairly certain that you've got just a battery that's not holding much of a charge anymore because you had the battery power to put your awning out, but not bring it back in. It just sounds like you don't have a battery that's holding much of a charge anymore.
And unfortunately, the only solution to that is a new battery.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Well, like you said, winter is coming, whether we like it or not, even though it is 82 degrees today here in the Quad Cities.
It's kind of crazy.
It is kind of crazy.
It's kind of crazy.
We're camping this weekend and it's going to be wonderful. The weather's going to be gorgeous. It's going to feel, 82, 77. It's going to be lovely. But it doesn't feel like it's time to start thinking about winterizing and protecting batteries for the year. But we are it's middle of October, y'all. Like, we're already discussing Thanksgiving and Christmas plans. This may or may not be our last trip. We're hoping, we keep saying it's going to be, but then we cross our fingers and go, maybe we can squeeze something
I think we
out
can squeeze something
in.
out. We have found there are a decent number of state parks that are open late around here.
I'm
We
so
can find
content with
something. Yeah.
our county park that's
Yeah.
20 minutes from our house right now. That's where we're going.
Which is
We're
they're
so
open year
content.
round. Yeah.
And the
It's great.
video you just did that's
It's from there. I'm
over,
going to do a few videos from there.
But we have one that just came out. So this is Friday that we're recording. We had one that came out last night. You know, our RV life kind of focused or singular topic focused videos always come out on Thursdays. And you just did one on
auto leveling.
and you filmed it at that campground.
And I also did what I've been meaning to do for a long time is I recalibrated our leveling system. So now we don't have to fiddle around with the manual mode. But
I love it.
I'm also going to do a full tour of our battery system, our battery and electrical system from ABC Upfitters while we're out there. So, you know, we have this fancy high-end lithium battery system, but lots of RVs are coming with lithium batteries these days, and a lot of people have upgraded to lithium batteries. So lithium batteries are going to be a little bit different when it comes to how you store and maintain them. You are, again, fine with keeping them plugged in all winter. They will not charge unless they are a heated battery when it is below a certain temperature. So it is important to find out what type of battery you have and look at the instructions for that battery to determine what you're supposed to do in the winter. I know our system from Mastervolt, what they suggest is that if we're not going to be keeping the batteries plugged in or anything, what we can do anytime we're leaving it for more than 30 days is turn the batteries off. We have on-off breakers on each of our batteries. If you don't have something like that, you can disconnect your battery. But they suggest we turn ours off, having it charged from 90 to 100%. And in that case, we could leave it all winter, and those batteries would lose some power because of the battery management system in them. But
they
would be
have
fine.
Yeah, we will have ours.
We have power to be plugged into.
Yes.
But lithium batteries are going to depend a lot on the battery management system in your lithium battery. And that's why there's such a difference in the expense of lithium batteries, because a good battery management system on board is going to make that battery last a lot longer because it's controlling all of the charging and discharging, all that sort of stuff. And it's protecting itself. So with ours, we don't have a whole lot of worry. There are some batteries out there that recommend that if you are going to be leaving them plugged in, to only be charging them to like 60 or 70%. But lithium batteries are going to be a situation where you're going to want to read the manual. But in general, like, think of being plugged in as just like you're using an RV full time. It's absolutely fine to be plugged in. And in fact, is probably one of the better ways to keep your batteries charged throughout the winter. The thing you don't want to do is just let them die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the things too, a little tip we wanted to share about if you are plugging in offsite. So we are plugged in at a storage unit. We have an enclosed storage unit and we're plugged in there. We're offsite. The rig is not home with us. If that is your situation as well, we highly recommend that you check on that rig. I would say at least once a month over the winter, maybe even a couple of times, because we have had a situation where either a storm came through or something happened at this storage unit and we lost power.
Yeah, the ground fault circuit interrupter. We have it's just a little 20 amp outlet in our storage unit, and it's got a ground fault circuit interrupter on it, and that had tripped, which forever to figure out that was the problem.
Well, it took us a while to find it, actually. I mean, the way it was like...
I wouldn't have thought that outlet would have had that on it in our storage. We just thought we didn't have power.
Unfortunately, what had happened, because we had it plugged in and we did have it, I think at that time, we had just gotten back. So, when we had returned from our big 2-month spring trip, we were coming right back into the heart of storm season, tornado season. We hadn't even been home, I think, 2 days and sirens were going off on us. So we still had the fridge not in vacation mode.
Yeah, the fridge was running at full.
It was running at full. It was hot.
It's very hot. It was dark in there, so the solar panel is not getting anything because we're in a garage.
So it pulled a considerable
Yeah.
amount of power
Yeah.
out of the rig,
Yeah.
out of the batteries. And thankfully we had come over it because we still needed to like get stuff. And we had things in there that I think I wanted to get bedding and stuff, but I let it sit for a couple weeks before I went and got the bedding. But I got there and I was like, oh, why aren't the lights turning on? Like, what's
Yeah.
happened? And sure enough, like just that little bit of time was enough. So again, learn from us. Go over there and make sure if you're going to plug it into an offsite location, storms come through or a snowstorm comes through, even snowstorms can cause trouble. Go check, make sure your batteries are still doing okay over there, that the rig is still doing what it needs to do so that it's going to be ready for you come the start of your RV season.
Yeah.
All right, it is time to check the level of our tanks, and that is sponsored as always by our friends over at Liquefied RV Toilet Treatment, the no BS toilet treatment. You can find Liquefied over at liquefiedrv.com. Okay, Jay, what is in your black tank
Well,
this
you
week?
had mentioned that it was kind of AI related, and I was kind of thinking that as well. And actually, it's not. It's not AI related
No, it's
at
not.
all. It's human related. It's even
It's
worse.
social media related,
It's
which
social media
yes,
related.
it
So
yeah.
what I have been running into as Facebook continues to, as we mentioned earlier, eat itself. What's essentially happened is Facebook has gotten rid of most of their content controls.
Yep.
So what that has led to is a lot of just BS content out there. And what I am getting bombarded with right now is RV related accounts. They're usually called RV family or RV camping family or RV camping, or sometimes it's somebody's name
Yeah.
that when you look at the name a little closer, you're like, that's not a real name, is it?
Well, I
But
mean,
but
it
what's
could be.
so what they're doing is they're going to like Facebook groups, like RV related Facebook groups, looking for the most popular posts, copying them, stealing the photos and all that sort of stuff, copying the exact text of it and putting it on a Facebook page. And the
Mhm.
post still says like, "Hey group, what do you think about XYZ?"
Yeah, because
And you think, "Oh, this is a face do you think this RV camping is a Facebook group I'm in and that's why I'm getting this post?"
or that they're just talking to
It's
you like a
right.
friendly,
Yeah.
right? Like,
But it's not. It's not a group I'm in. It's a individual Facebook page that is just, they'll never comment on but they're collecting hundreds and hundreds of comments. So,
and hundreds of likes or any sort of reaction, and all of that equates to cha-ching.
yeah, and what I'm getting now is a feed that's full of those and not full of actual posts from Facebook groups, which is just it's just
Like,
again, the internet, we invented this wonderful thing that is become just a terrible place to be. You can't even get
in
correct
some
information
corners.
about stuff. It's
In some
and
corners, I very much enjoy the the bakers and home cooks that I follow
sure.
on Substack. I thoroughly enjoy that space there. But you're right. I think that you know, as ones who moderate, admin several Facebook groups, it is really disappointing to see how little interaction those get anymore compared to a couple of years ago. I mean, you all remember when Facebook did that big ad campaign about
It
groups
was
and
all
how
about
it was
groups.
all about that's where you find the community and like all of this. And it was
They
just,
were awarding groups. They were paying
it,
people to create groups. They were
yeah,
doing all kinds of stuff.
it was crazy. And we
Yeah.
were never paid to create a group,
No.
like never paid. We created groups because we wanted a place where we could all, have some sort of controlled space in the sense of privacy to talk. And just over the last couple of years, they have just like everything else, over on Instagram, it was, oh, nobody cares about your
It's
pictures
a
anymore. You just reels, 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 reels. And oh, now all of a sudden we're supposed to care about pictures again. And, and
no,
over,
and now it's all about rage bait, whatever whatever rage bait works.
And so,
Yeah.
but kind of, well, yeah. Anyway, it's unfortunate. So just be careful. If
Yeah.
you think it's a group, it's most likely just a page, and they're probably pulling somebody else's content.
Yeah.
They're not even.
Yeah, it'll be be like an RV that's wrecked, and it'll be like, well, this happened to me yesterday.
And who's the me?
And then, people give them, thousands of likes and sads and whatever, and then you click on it, and they've like their last 5 posts were different RVs that they've crashed.
Yeah, you're like, wow, you really shouldn't be
And
on the road.
what happens, what people don't realize too, though, is that the goal then is to build up these pages with these massive followings, and then sell them off to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
And that's like isn't that wild? That's an actual thing.
Yeah.
Like you sell off that page with a huge following
Yeah.
to somebody else. They take it over, and the cycle
and they
continues.
just change the name to like their new business or whatever it might be.
Bananas. It's bananas. What is in your fresh tank this week?
My fresh tank is the folks over at Coleman Mach air conditioners, sort of the ubiquitous air conditioner, not really associated with the Coleman company anymore. I'm sure that's where the name originally comes from. They have announced their sort of competitor to the Furrion Chill Cube. So the Furrion Chill Cube is this new air conditioner that is just fantastic. It is an inverter air conditioner. A better word for it would be it's a variable speed air conditioner. So where most air conditioners are just on when they're on and then they're off when they're off, it's varying the compressor speed based on the demand to get the room cool, which dramatically increases the efficiency of that air conditioner. So you're not using anywhere near the power. So they're great for off-grid battery systems, but they're also
love it.
incredibly quiet. And they're 18K BTUs. So BTUs is the measurement of how cold they can get. And the typical RV air conditioners are either 15K or 13.5K. And these new Furrion Chill Cubes are 18K. So long story, somewhat shorter, Coleman Mach now has their answer.
Love it.
To the Furrion Chill Cube. So there's some competition in the market. So now it's Coleman Mach's 18K variable speed IntelliCool AC. So it's basically the same BTUs, the same cooling power, their own variable speed version of this. So
we need this. We need this because I cannot. The one over our bed
it's loud.
Is so loud. We need this.
This needs to be the standard. These variable speed air conditioners.
Yes.
I think, it's going to take a few years, but eventually this is all that's going to be in RVs, because I don't know what the cost differential is. One of these versus one of the, I'm sure it's significant versus the other traditional air conditioners. But, efficiency matters whether you're an off-gridder or not, right? Because you're reducing power consumption, reducing demand on the grid, reducing the power that the campsite needs and what that campground has to pay, which can only be good for the bottom line for campgrounds going down the road.
Good
That sort
for
of
the
stuff.
environment.
It's good for the environment.
Good. It's all good.
The sound matters, all that sort of stuff. So this idea that the sort of the more off-grid stuff that happens in the RV market, whether people use it or not, drives innovation of stuff like this. And that's fantastic. And I think that's so great. So I have to imagine there will be a year in the next 5 years or so, just like when we saw the end of the propane refrigerator. It happened really quickly. We went to the DC compressor fridges. It's similar technology. I think we're going to see air conditioners on RVs move that direction.
I
hopefully.
hope we see 2 of those on the
On
37 RV miles on our roof before next camping season, because I didn't really fully calculate how loud the one in our bedroom is until like homecoming. And then the one in our living room, when we had like my parents and Jen and Grant in there, and we're all like trying to talk, and that thing is just blasting all sound out. And I
Now, I
was
did
like,
have that one
"Jeez
opened up
Louise."
so it wasn't running through the ducts, which like doubles the sound. So,
Yeah, but I
but our
mean,
old when we were in
still.
the 37 FLL, our bedroom was, didn't have an air conditioner
And it was
over
hot
it. So, and it was
because
hot.
it was hot because it was all the way in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
RV air
Yeah.
conditioners. It's the sound has been. I mean, people that have the same air conditioner in like a Class B camper van, and it's
We
a
got to get
problem.
one.
So
We got to get
these are
two.
it's really great that there's some competition in the.
Yeah.
I know Dometic has a version coming out as well.
Awesome.
So I think that's very exciting. All right, what's in your black tank this week?
Okay. I think it's time to talk about it. We're going to talk about how awful Thursday Night Football is on Amazon Prime.
It's
What
so
is wrong?
bad.
What is wrong over there? You are Amazon Prime and you are producing a show that like looks like the local high school sportscasters using
use like
720 and a really like and hot spotting onto their phones
they use
are
like
producing.
they
What is
put
going
like
on?
they use like their logo, the Amazon logo, as like the arrow for like the direction of downs and stuff. I hate it.
It is so poorly done. YouTube was the same way. It's these streaming platforms for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Like the YouTube game was
That one was real bad.
so bad. And not just from a content standpoint. Like I don't really have an issue with the announcers or the pregame, postgame hosts. They're all fine. That's all fine. It's the quality of the production. And we used to think, well, maybe it's just our internet. But let me tell you, I have watched now Thursday Night Football on multiple different internet. Starlink.
Yeah.
Whatever Metronet, whatever the heck it is here. And now this super fast one that we have in the house. And it's always going to buffer at some point. And you're just Jeff Bezos, you have so much money.
Well, I mean, we're watching the other shows on like it's still we have an NFL Sunday ticket, so we're still watching all of our NFL games through YouTube.
On YouTube TV. Yes.
It's so NBC and Fox, they have no problem getting it through the system.
And also I gotta say, their ability to filter out sound on Thursday night, like I don't understand.
Oh my gosh.
Because
I have to tell you.
I have seen what you go through to filter out sound. And I'm like, if Jason Epperson can take the time.
They will leave those background sound mics up on, like, it's insane.
It is. You can't hear them sometimes because they have those background mics.
The crowd mics.
Yes.
So I've gotten deep lately into there's this content creator who goes around to live sound engineers and is capturing content about them. So one of them, he was at Saturday Night Live, and he's talking to the sound engineer, and they've got a pedal that runs their audience clapping, applause,
the
applause
audience
and laughter
sound.
mic.
Yeah.
So he's like, because I can't do that with a fader. I've got too much going on with my hands. So he's got a pedal to like bring up the audience mic and up and down. Then they go to a baseball game, and the baseball guy, he's got two mics pointed at home plate, so you can get they call it the bat crack mics, but the crack of the bat or the ball hitting the catcher's mitt.
Yeah.
And then
these iconic sounds that you think of with a football or a baseball game. Yeah.
There are mics, on the crowd. There are mics pointed at the benches and stuff. And, they're constantly writing all of these different sounds up and down. And clearly just Amazon doesn't pay that person very well.
Clearly not. Or they
don't have that person. Can you just turn that mic
yes.
on? We don't need a second sound engineer.
Because so many people watch these things, I think sometimes you get lazy.
Yeah.
And they're lazy.
Yeah.
And I think they're lazy with their production. It's like, and also they're trying to be this, and I see this across like a lot of different football shows, but really with Amazon Prime. They're trying to bring a vibe to it, a young, hip.
Yeah, you got Al Michaels out there talking to Kaylee.
Listen, Al Michaels, my man, just for men called. And they want you to know you're not doing them any service. Like they like you to just.
The man is
okay.
in his 80s and he's still hanging on to that hair down.
Hey, Al can call it. He gave Rogers last night some grief for his darkness retreat, and I was here for it. But it's sort of like if I tried to be hip and cool, and you come to a point, and I thought this was a really great comment that I heard on the podcast when they were reviewing The Life of a Showgirl, the new Taylor Swift album, and they were talking about how, look, we're all at an age now, millennials and us newborn Gen Xers / elder millennials, where we're not driving the narrative anymore. Look, we're driving the economy, but half of that is being driven by the little people we've brought into this world. But we're not driving what's popular. We're not driving the narrative. We're not.
No. We're
for
not.
the most part, we're not the movers and shakers. They were talking about how Erin was talking about how her kids like make fun of The Office. Like that's where we're at now with like for this generation. And they were relating it to how this album feels a little bit like to them, big diehard Swifties. It felt a little bit like Taylor's attempt to try and hold on to that.
She's growing older too.
And the Taylors that have underneath her that have, are coming up are now, the Chapel Rowans that
it's been a thing. This tells all the time with music is that you can't just keep trying to hold on to the modern audience. You've got to kind of ride the audience you built when you got popular.
And I just don't think that Thursday night football's audience, look, young people are probably watching it, but I don't think they're watching it in the way you think they're watching it. And you're trying so hard to be something that you're just not cool enough to be.
Let's be honest. They're not listening anyway. They've got their headphones in. They're watching reels on their phone while it's on in the background.
So do us a favor for those of us who like to mute the commercials because they're so dang loud. Figure out your sound, your background noise.
We sound so old.
I don't care anymore. I'm embracing. I've had my moment to be in my teens, to be in my 20s, to be in my 30s. This is my time to be in my 40s. And darn it, I'm going to own it. Turn the sound down, Amazon. I don't want to hear people in the audience screaming out during interviews.
What's in your fresh tank?
My fresh tank is, and I'm going to keep the ball rolling. It's fall, which means we get to bake all the things that have pumpkin in them. And I love it. It's basic. It's like elder millennial. I love this time of year. Yes. I've baked twice this week already. I made a pumpkin cream cheese roll. So a Swiss roll.
Yeah, the other one was rolls too, just different type.
Yeah, so I made, my first one was a gluten-free, mostly dairy-free pumpkin cream cheese Swiss roll. And I was so thrilled because I got the swirl. And I that can be so fiddly with a gluten-free cake. Then last night I made gluten-free, mostly dairy-free pumpkin cinnamon rolls with a cream cheese icing. And those were good. They weren't as good as the other, but they were good. And
they were very good. They were just slightly underdone.
Which I love.
Well,
I love it. I mean, but
I typically do with
they were
cinnamon
raw.
rolls as well.
They were raw.
They
were raw.
With typical with gluten cinnamon rolls, I think it works. I think with gluten-free cinnamon rolls, it doesn't work as well to have them gooey.
Tale as old as time. The outers were cooked really well. Yeah. The centers were kind of trying to get there. I am on a mission these days to, as I've talked many times, to put my phone down and to get out of that world and to find real life things that bring me joy, real life conversations, real life interactions, and reading more, things of that, and baking is something that I've always really enjoyed. But I've had a hard time reconciling baking with gluten-free baking.
Yeah.
And I was
You
really
had a
thrilled.
couple of successful things.
I had a
this week.
couple
You also
successful things
You
this
also
week.
did a really good non-dairy mac and cheese.
I made a Tex-Mex mac and cheese last night that was
Which
non-dairy.
That's not easy. That's
No,
not easy.
listen, I'm enjoying it, and it's, a couple hours where I'm just focused on the thing that I'm doing, and that's really nice. It's really, really nice. So that's it. That's all I got for you. Just a whole lot of black tank, fresh tank, old lady stuff.
That's it for this week's episode of the RV Miles podcast.
Yes, it is. Thank you so much for joining us this week. And of course, if you enjoy what we're doing at RV Miles, we would really love to talk to you. Be that leaving a comment on YouTube or sending us an email like Patty did, or finding us over in the RV Miles Facebook group, if you can even still find it anymore, dig through the weeds over there. We would just love to be able to have interaction with you, live streams, whatever that is, through our mile marker community. Come and hang out with Jason and me. You can do that over at rvmiles.com. You can find out all the information there, and then rvmiles.com/mile markers to join that community as well. And until next week, friends, stay healthy. It's okay if you need to mute the commercials. Embrace that part of your journey. It's fine. And keep logging those RV miles.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.